the disc, right, and the pre-sale package.
Sorry?
Last time we talked about the disc and the pre-sale package, right?
Yeah, so we don't have as much of a track record as you do. Damon, are you on the line as well?
Yeah, I'm here. I agree.
For the track record, like I said, just get as many of the past customer to review you as possible. If you don't have that many, you can just try to get reviews. So that's what you can get reviews from coworker, from broker, from the past client, even the lease client. Just get as many reviews as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been working on that.
Yeah.
And we have a listing package that we got that's specific to our broker that we're editing, and we're going to finalize today. And we'll throw the reviews on there as well. So I guess really, how can we get the VA rolling? We'll need to get a RedX account. Is that correct?
Yeah, you just get either RedX or Vulcan 7. So you get an account set up, and then I can have the inside sales person to start calling. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to think, oh, it's got to be everything's gonna be perfect. It's like a working progress. You know what I mean? So just at least have something to show for. You don't have to like a whole bunch of stuff. You don't have to make it perfect. I mean, it's all a progress. You know what I mean? It's never a final product.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's why we're just like, all right, we don't have everything, but we definitely got to get going with something.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is you want to have what is it, a how do you say? Let's say if you search Google for yourself or for your service, you want everything to be aligned. It doesn't matter if it's a Google My Business or if it's a Twitter or if it's a LinkedIn or if it's a Facebook page or whatever. You want everything to say the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to sometimes, for example, I was talking to a property manager in Orlando. Then, because I was trying to pick a property manager. So, and I went down to Google to search. Then I opened her LinkedIn, and it says she was on her title, on her what is it? On her title, it says it's something else. It's totally different from property management. It's like some other stuff. I forgot. So that's what you do not want. You wanna make sure every one of your account they go to, it says the same thing. It's give the same message. Guaranteed offer, cash out for your home. Yeah. Yeah. So, go ahead. You guys have any questions before we start?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. So because last time we talked about, so basically we were talking about the 5-step, right? The pre-sale, the disc, the why, the guarantee, and the monopoly and the guarantee. So today I think basically I have a much longer version. It has much more steps in it, but this 5-step is the basic it's the necessity. It's what you have to go through. There are other steps. For example, I have some step that's after the guarantee. It's the lower expectation. After the lower expectation, then I go into the pricing. But that's just like a extra step. That's for when the presentation is not going very well. You want to make sure that you get the price you want. But the basic step is this 5-step. So in most cases, this is the 5-step outline that I remind myself before I go into a listing presentation. And depending on the scenario, so I'll have other steps to kick in to close. But this is the basic 5 steps that you must go through in order to have successful to be able to close the homeowner. So today, let's focus on why. Then the why is very important. It's like I was sharing with you guys last time. I think I gave you an example, right? So if you focus on the why very well, if you do it well, then they're gonna forget about the price. They're gonna forget about the commission. They're gonna forget about all of those stuff. Because once you figure out why, because in order for you to guarantee to them that what you can do for them, you have to know what they want, right? So actually, sometimes I give the example to them in person as well. I say, hey, the reason I kept asking you questions is because I want to make sure, I know exactly what you want. Let's say if you want an apple, I want to make sure I give you an apple. I don't want to be like, you want an orange, I give you an apple, then that wouldn't be good. So actually say it to them directly about that. So, and they're very happy because they feel like you really care and you really, taking the time to understand them. Which is a lot of, that's something that a lot of salesperson do not do. A lot of salesperson, what they do is, when they trying to close someone, they just kept pushing their agenda. They just kept saying, oh, you got to buy this, you should buy this, da 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 da. They try to push for the product. Hello? So,
I think the call dropped.
yeah. So are you both online?
Let me get Dave on.
Okay, all right, okay. So everybody online?
All right, now we're both back.
Yeah. So a lot of salespeople, they just trying to push whatever they want to push, but that's not gonna work because if you're pushing something that the client doesn't want, you can push all you want. They're just gonna get annoyed. So basically, the reason we want to focus on why is because you wanna pinpoint exactly what they want. Because only if you know exactly what they want, then you can promise what they want. You know what I mean? Because if you do not understand exactly what they want, you can promise all you want. It's not what they want. So even if you promise, it's not gonna make a difference to them in their mind. You know what I mean? So there is actually a format. So basically, the why process is also a process for you to open them up. Like I think we briefly talked about that last time. It's very important that you want to open them up because if they're not, what I mean by open them up is that a lot of times you go talk with somebody, the whole time they have their arm folded, they're not paying attention. They're like, the whole time they're very skeptical of you and what you say. If that scenario keeps going on the entire presentation, then you just like wasting your time. So before you can get them to open up to you, doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how much how good you are at what you're doing. No matter what you say, it's not gonna make a difference. So the why process is also a process of opening them up, and in order to open them up, you basically asking questions and you share information. The reason you want to do this too, action, back and forth is because in the beginning, most people, they don't feel comfortable opening up to people that they do not already know, to somebody that's like a stranger. So that's why the why process is also a process for you to open them up. It's very important. If you can try this after I share after today's session. Just go try this. I used to try this with the Uber driver. So every time I get on an Uber, I just start chatting with them. I just ask them why they're driving Uber. What's their motivation for doing it? But obviously not like a interrogation. It's like I make it sound like a chatting. But I was actually trying to discover their motivation. So my goal is to discover and understand somebody's motivation as quickly as possible. So I make it like a game, for me to practice. You can do that too. So it's very important. It's actually a very profitable skill to have. I would say it's probably one of the most profitable skill to have, because if you can meet anybody and if you can understand their motivation in very quickly, that means you can close them much quicker. That means you will have much higher chance of closing them when you're trying to sell something to them. If you can do that, man, then that's money, man. That means you can close anybody, and that means you can make money much quicker. So the reason you want to share information as well is because if you're only asking questions, it's gonna sound like you're interrogating people. So that's what you want to avoid. You do not want people to feel like you are interrogating them. In order to make it feel like not interrogation, then you have to share information. For you to share information, it also helps them to open up to you. Because let's say if you're only asking questions, then they feel like you're trying to get something from them. So most likely they're not gonna open up to you. But if you ask questions and share information, share something about you personally, then they will be more likely to open up, because it's like kind of like a reciprocation, right? Because you opened up to them, you share information to them, so they feel like they need to share information too. So this is actually a very I didn't invent this. This is not something I invented. It's actually something I studied from a very ancient and very well-known strategy book. So this book, the author of this book, he has many students. This is actually from ancient China. So he has many students. He taught many students this skill, basically the skill of having people open up to them. And many of his students become really successful, like well-known in history. So basically they became like, they actually, because they got this skill of, understanding people quickly and having people willing to open up to them, they become like the ruler of the country. So this is how important this skill is. And if you can apply this skill in sales presentation, it's also gonna make you very powerful too. So that's just in the background that you need to think about. So as far as for the why, there's a couple process when you get the why. Okay, there's mainly two process. One is understand why. Another one is what they want. So to understand why, the why process is not a rocket science. But if you want to be good at it, you need practice. It needs a lot of practice. Because what I mean by that is that if you're not good at it, it's going to sound like you're interrogating people. If you become really good at it, then people are going to be, they're going to enjoy the talking with you. It's going to feel like a conversation to them. But at the same time, you are actually, getting what you want, which is finding out, discovering the why. But in order for you to be good at the why, you have to first care about the person. So the reason I say that is, I don't know, because last time I think I mentioned to you guys about this book, right? The who but not how, right? Ian? Yeah. So in that book, he talked about this concept of being a hero. Did we talk about this concept, the hero concept?
I don't know if I've gotten that far in the book
Okay.
yet. I'm still listening, right?
Yeah, so the hero concept, so he was saying that, so if you want to be successful at what you do, or if you want to be successful at servicing the customer or the clients, all you gotta do is imagine yourself as a hero for them. Because if you're a hero for the customer, then all the intention you have for the customer will be positive, will be good. You just want the best, nothing but the best for the customer. And you will do whatever you can to protect their bottom line. You will do whatever you can to make sure you can get what's best for them. So if that's what you're thinking, if you're the hero, if you're always acting as a hero for the customer, then you will see excellent result. You will see wonderful outcome, because the fact that you are willing to be a hero for your customer, that automatically means that you have empathy for them. That means you care for them, right? Because you care, because you have empathy for them, then you do want to find out what's troubling them. And you generally really you care about their well-being. So you work hard to figure out what's bothering them, and then you provide a solution to resolve their problem. So if that's your displacement, if that's your thinking process, then the customer, they will feel it too. If they can feel that you really care about them, then they will open up to you. If they open up to you, let's say for somebody else, for most of the salesperson, if all they care about is the money, is the commission, then the customer will not feel it. They're just gonna think this is just another freaking slimy used car salesperson, whatever, So if that's the impression they have for you, you will not close them. You will not get their why. They will not open up to you. But if from the get-go they understand that you care about them, they sense that you really have empathy for them, then they will open up to you. Because once they open up to you, then you will know exactly what they want. So their questions first obviously you have to care from your perspective. Then you have to ask the right question. So basically the whole process for the why process is you just basically asking different questions repeatedly in different ways, back and forth. And at the same time, you're also sharing information. Remember I talked about having the client open up? You cannot keep asking questions. So you have to also share information. That way they will open up for you. So the question to ask when you're trying to understand why, obviously, number one, first you have to care, you have to have the empathy, right? Then the most important question you want to ask is why are you selling the home? But usually I do not say why. Usually I say what made you want to sell the home. Because when you ask why, it sounds kind of intrusive. It sounds kind of demanding, right? So that's why I say what made you want to sell your home. So sometimes sometimes they may just tell you right away, but a lot of times they don't. Or sometimes they don't tell you the real reason. And this one time I went to meet with a homeowner. I was going to the why process. In the beginning, so she was pretty open from the get-go, and she told me the why right away. So she said the reason, not right away, maybe somewhere in the middle of the presentation, she told me the reason she wanted to sell the home was because it was a condo, and the condo has HOA, and the HOA, the HOA board, the management is a bunch of old people. I have nothing against old people, but she was saying that these old people are very hard to deal with because they were always arguing on whether they should repair the HOA, right? The HOA usually they decide on whether they should repair the roof or repair the outside wall, whatever they need to decide on a budget. So she was saying that some of the items they need to be repaired, but the HOA the old people, they don't want to spend the money. Initially she said that's the reason, but at the end of the presentation, because the whole time I was candid, I showed empathy. Overall I really care about the client. I want to find out what's exactly the reason they want to sell. And at the end, she told me the real reason. She said the real reason she was selling, I don't know if I shared this story with you guys or not. She said the reason she was selling is because she is getting a divorce. And she want to make sure before she get a divorce, she want to sell this home so that the divorce is not so complicated. So that's the real reason. So what I mean is that when you go through presentation, a lot of times sometimes they're not going to tell you the reason, and most of the time they're going to tell you a fake reason. If after the whole process, if you only have the first two outcome, you will not get what you want. Because if they don't tell you the reason or they tell you a fake reason, that means they're not open up to you yet. If they're not open up to you, that means most likely you will not get the business. Most likely they will not sign the contract. Because if they haven't opened up to you, if they haven't told you the real reason, then then you would not know what's their pain. If you do not know their pain, there's no way for you to guarantee to them that you can resolve their pain, right? If you cannot resolve their pain, then they're not going to give the business to you. That's why it's very important that you want to figure out the why. So the first question you ask, let me come back, is to just ask them, what made you want to sell the home? That's the first question. The second question is, who are you doing this for? Obviously you're not gonna ask like this word by word. Basically, you want to talk to them, chat with them to figure out who they're doing it for. So, for example, I was selling a home. I think I gave you that example, the Alan. So he's, the person that didn't even ask me for the commission, like what's the percentage. So the reason he is selling the home is because their master bedroom is on the third floor, and the wife has been having knee problem. So she couldn't go up and down the stairway, because her knees, is messed up. So that's what he's doing it for. Who he is doing it for. He's selling the home because He wants to sell the home and buy a one-story home so his wife can, easily maneuver, going back and forth into her bedroom and, going in and out of her bedroom. So that's what so it's important you want to also find out who they're doing it for, is because most people are not doing it for themselves. Most people, so we have, when people, so basically you gotta have a mindset change, is that when we are selling or buying homes, we're not just selling or buying a home. Nobody needs to buy or sell a home, right? Because they already have a home. Why do they need to sell the home and buy another one, right? They don't need it. The reason people are selling or buying a home is because they have something in their life they need to change. So you need to see yourself as not somebody that's helping people to buy or sell a home. You are changing lives, right? So for example, yesterday I was doing an open house. Sometimes I still go, but I don't do it all the time. But usually the first open house I go. So yesterday I had a buyer came through. Then even at the open house, I do this as well. I ask them their motivation for wanting to buy another home. So it was a couple in their 40s, mid 40s, I think, late 30s or mid 40s. I asked them, so I say, because they walk here, so I know they're the neighbors. I say, okay, so you're the neighbor, right? So what's the motivation that you wanted to buy another home? They say, because we just gave birth to a new baby. So you see that nobody needs to sell or buy a home. People are selling or buying a home because they have a life-changing story. They need to, something happened in their life so that they need to do it. So the way to find out why is, number one, you have to first go in with empathy. You have to care about the client. And secondly, the question you ask, what made you want to sell the home? And another question you need to ask is, who are you doing it for? Obviously, so sometimes if you just ask this way, they may not answer you. Then you need to just keep chatting and keep circling back to the same questions in different sequence and ask a different way. So it makes like you are chatting, and then you eventually, most likely, you're gonna figure out the answer. And so once you know their why, once you know who they're doing it for, then you gotta figure out what they want, right? To figure out what they want, this is the question you ask. So like I said earlier, right, it's very important that you know what they want, because only if you know what they want, then you can guarantee to them that you can get it for them, right? Like I said earlier, if they want orange, you give them apple, then you're not going to get the business because you're not giving them what they want, right? So to ask them what they want, there's a couple questions you ask. Number one question is, what is the most important for you? What is the most important for you in getting this home sold? It could be, the biggest thing you want to remember is you do not want to assume, because most salespeople, they want to assume. They're like, what could it be? They want a higher price. It's not necessarily always the case. For example, let's say for somebody that's, like for example, that example I just gave earlier, they're getting a divorce. Let's say if they have a deadline that they to go to court whatever day, then in that situation, maybe timing is important for them too. So do not assume anything. You want to figure out, you want to ask them so that they can tell you. So what is most important for you in getting a home sold? That's one question you want to ask. Another question is there any preparation needed before you sell your home, right? Because if you do not understand this, everything could be perfect. But for example, recently, I kind of messed up a little bit. So I had one listing, so I was representing the homeowner. Well, it's not that messed up. The homeowner didn't know either. So he couldn't close. He doesn't want to close because he's a stingy Jewish guy. I'm nothing against Jewish guy, but Jewish guy kind of stingy. So he didn't want to sell anymore because the escrow found out that he has a lien on his home. I don't know if he know it or not, but so that's just what I mean, that you need to ask this question. Is there any preparation you need, anything you need to do before you sell your home? For example, in this case, he needs to pay off the lien before he can sell the home, right? So that's why it's very important that you want to know, the motivation, why they want to sell their home, and then you want to know exactly, what's the outcome they're looking for. So once you figure out these two things, then you want to get to the price. But usually before I get to price, I mean, nowadays it's the market is really hot. So if the price they want is a market price, then I don't really need, there's no way for me to do this, which is lower expectation. But if the price they want is higher than market price, then I need to do this. I need to go through this step, which is usually I do the lower expectation before the pricing, because I want to set the, I want to set a lower standard, so that they, the number they come out of their mouth is not a wacky number. It's not like all over the place. I want to set a lower bar. You know what I mean? So sometimes
always here to lower expectations.
Yeah. So you want to lower the expectation. Yeah. So so in this case, so usually another thing I do, usually before I meet with the homeowner, I always ask this question. I said, I always ask them, what price do you have in mind? A lot of times they don't tell me, but I still ask it, because if they tell me right away, then it's gonna make my job so much easier. That way I can go in even before I meet with them. I know the price they want. That's gonna make it so much easier because I already know. Because I would know once they tell me the price, then I just check the pricing a little bit. Then I would know whether that price is doable or not. If it's not doable, then I know it's gonna be a kind of like uphill battle for me. If it's doable, then it's gonna be much easier. So it's always a good practice to ask them what price they want. Do you have a price in your mind before you even meet with them? But a lot of times they don't tell you. That's okay too. But just ask. If they tell you, then that would be good. Then, so let's say if they tell me, let's say if the market price is a lot of times it happens like that. Let me tell you this: the homeowner always know how much their home is worth. Nobody do not know. All the homeowners, no matter how stupid they are, no matter whether they speak English or not, they always know how much their home is worth, the fair market value. They know it. But whether they agree to it or not, that's another subject. And a lot of times they know what their home is worth, but they don't agree to it. Let's say if they know their home is worth $500,000, but they still want to sell for $550. But if it's in that situation, I would tell them, I say, hey, the market value of your home is probably around $500. I mean the price you want, there is a gap between what the market price and what you want. Let's say if you agree to sell your home at a market price, you can find anybody. Yeah, I know, everybody have a friend that's an agent. You don't need me. You can get anybody, they'll get it sold for you. But the price, since the price you want now is higher, there's a gap between what you want and the market price, then I'm your best option. Because I have all these resources that the average realtors do not have. I can get you, at least 5% more than the average realtors can. So if this price is what you want, then I'm your best option. So basically, it's good to talk about the price this way, is because number one, you're not lying to them. So what a lot of agents do is they just outright lie. They just say, oh, no problem, that's a great price, we'll get it sold quickly. That's just freaking lying, right? Because if you're lying, that's no good, because you're not being straightforward here, right? So in the presentation that we've been going through, nothing in there is gonna be about any lies. We do not want to lie to any sellers. Remember, we're trying to be their hero, right? So if we were their hero, then we gotta solve their problem, and then we gotta be straightforward to them. So the way I just went through the expectation, when you talk about that way, it's much better, because you're not lying, number one, right? Number two, you have them realize there is a gap. They know it too. I mean, they don't need for you to tell them, but it's still better to make it out in the open. But the reason you want to say it like that is because it separates you from the competition. Because you do not want to have competition. Like Peter Thiel said, right? Peter Thiel said competition is for losers, right? You know Peter Thiel, right? Do you guys know Peter Thiel?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's the guy that invested in all the big companies, PayPal, whatever, So he said competition is for losers. It's true. Competition is for losers. You cannot, if you're in a competition, then you're a loser no matter what. Because that means whatever you have to offer is the same as everybody else. If whatever you have to offer is the same as everybody else, then you're gonna be a freaking loser because you have no value to the customer, right? Because in their mind, whatever you can offer is whatever the other people can offer. Then why do they need you, right? Then if that's what they think, then the only thing you have to compete on is the commission, right? So you cannot. So the whole presentation is designed to separate yourself from the pack, from the competition. You want to differentiate yourself. You know you're better and different. You know that's like the thing I just went through about the different price. If it's the market price, you can get anybody else to sell it for you. But if it's this price you want, I'm your best option. So that's kind of separating yourself from the competition too. But then in the next session, the monopoly, then we'll talk about then we'll share with them in detail why we are their best option and not the other agents. The reason I call it monopoly is because after they went through your presentation, their perception of you is gotta be, hey, this team, the Ian and the Damon team, they're my best option. The other people, they cannot even come close. So this is the perception they need to have after you go through the presentation with them. A lot of his perception, you know what I mean? But obviously you gotta need to know some skills. You need to have some skills to, but I would say at least, I mean, there are people that have the skill, but they don't give people the right perception. It wouldn't work either. So you gotta have both, right? So so you want to lower expectation, and then you go into pricing, right? So this is not the actual step in between. So the basic step is still the 5-step, right? The pre-sale, the disc, discover the disc, identify the disc, and understand the why, and the monopoly and guarantee. So the lower expectation and the pricing is kind of grouped into the why section. So once you understand their why, once you understand what they want, then you gotta first lower the expectation and then you go into pricing. The big thing about pricing is that you should never tell how much their home is worth. You should never say it. Okay. That's something you have to remember. You cannot say the price. Now,
why would we not say the price?
Okay, because if you say the price, either way it's gonna be bad, right? Let's say if you say the price and that's okay. I'll give you an example. So I saw the home in Lomita before. The home was like the market price was about 500,000, and the market so in the beginning I tried to ask them how much they want to sell their home for. I asked them. I was going to the why. I was going to the discovery. I was going to the why. I was going to so I got into the pricing part. I kept asking the price. They just do not want to tell me. The reason you do not want to say the price to them is that, let's say if the price is 500, if you told them 550, that's going to make your job very difficult, right? Let's say if it's 500 and they in their mind they want to sell for 500, and if you tell them 550, you're basically you're basically messing yourself up, right? Let's say if the market price is 500 and if you told them 450, then it's gonna piss them off because that's not the price they have in mind. Then they're gonna just dismiss you. No matter what you say from there on, it's gonna matter. Then you're done. You're out of the game. That's why you never say the price. Okay, your role is not a. I mean, it is your role is a professional, but you're more like a consultant, right? You should guide them for them to come up with the price, not you telling them the price. Okay, so I'll come back to the example. So I kept asking them what the price they want. The whole time they wouldn't say it. So the easiest way to figure out what price the homeowner want is by asking this question. So hey homeowner, if I bring you a cash buyer tomorrow with a suitcase of cash, and buy your home and close in 5 days, how much would you sell? That's a good question to figure out homeowner's bottom line. But it works sometimes, but a lot of times homeowners, they're pretty tight lips about their price. So a lot of times they still don't want to say it. So I kept asking them different ways. They don't want to say the price. Obviously, I cannot say the price either. So in that case, there's two more things you can do to figure out the price. So sometimes the homeowner, they insist on you telling them the price, right? So for example, like this homeowner in Lomita, they insist on me telling them the price. So if that's the situation, you can tell them a price range, right? For example, if this home is $500,000, you can tell them a price range. So what I did in this situation, it's I draw a diagram, a price scale from 450 to 550. So I didn't answer them their question. So they asked me how much their home is worth. I didn't answer them that question. Instead, I just went into a diagram. I started explaining to them about the diagram. Did we talk about this before?
I don't know if we did, but I definitely I've done that before.
Yeah.
Use it from a wholesale perspective, but yeah.
Yeah. So So I went into this diagram. So I said, let's say if this price range is 450 to 550. Okay. Let's say if the 500,000 is the market price, 450 is. Let's say if 500,000 is 500,000 is the market price. Let's say if we list the home at 500,000, we're probably gonna get 10 offers. We're probably gonna get offers, below and above the price. Maybe we'll get 490, 480. Maybe we'll get 51, 52, 53, even 54. Let's say, and if we market at this price, we're probably gonna have maybe 100 people come to the open house. Maybe we can have 10 offers. Okay, so let's say if we market at 450. We're probably gonna get 200 people come to the open house. We're probably gonna get 15 to 20 offers, and the offer we get maybe 450, 490, 480, 500, or 51, or 510. Let's say if we on the other side of the scale, let's say if we market at 550, maybe we're only gonna get 50 people come through because the price is higher than market. So not many people will want to see the home because they will think like it's overpriced. And we may get 5 offers. We may get some offer that's 500. We may get some offer that's 510, 520. In this case, we might not even get 550 because the price is too high. So then I asked them. I said, in this situation, looking at this price scale, how much do you think you wanna price your home at? Then they said 550. I know the reason they don't want to say it because in their mind, even themselves they know it's overpriced. The price that they want is overpriced. That's why they don't want to say it because they feel embarrassed. But at the same time, they still want to get as much money as they can, right? Then I told them, I said, hey, this price scale I gave you, this is actually the exact scenario for your home. I just use your home as an example. They say, oh, so this is actually what you're saying is actually about our home. I said, okay, 550, it's over. I mean, there is a gap, between what you want and the market price. So I went through that whole thing about differentiate myself. So I said, I mean, if you want to sell 500, you can get anybody. But now since you want to sell for 550, because I have all these resources. So at that time, I already went through the monopoly. I already shared with them all the resources I have. I said, because we have all these resources that the average realtors do not have. So I think I'm the best option for you to get that price if we are able to. I tell you what, let's do this. Let's list at this price, and then we'll see how the market reacts, and then we can make correction accordingly. We actually eventually sold that home for, I forgot, 535 or 550, I forgot. But we got a pretty good price. It's over the market price. So the key to pricing is that you never want to say the price. Okay, you do not want to say the price. Because if you say the price, doesn't matter what you say, it will sound stupid and the outcome will look awkward. Do you guys have any questions so far? Yeah. So let me see. What do you guys want to do? You guys want to go to the Monopoly, or you guys want to go to come back and discuss about what we just talked about today? So today we talked about the why, finding out the price and the why and the pricing, and let me see what else we talked about. The low expectation, the opening up, and understand why, and the question you ask for what you want. So this why is something you really have to practice. You want to go through one scenario how we do this, or you want to go to the next section?
What do you think, Ian? I mean, we can go through it if you. I mean, what do you think, Ian?
Yeah, let's go through it.
Okay, so one of you can be the homeowner, and I'll be the person, the agent. So whoever wants to be a homeowner, then we can get started.
Danny, I'll be the homeowner. Okay. Yeah.
Ian?
So I'll be the agent. Okay.
Okay, you be the agent. Okay. Okay, then Damien be the homeowner then. So you guys can go through it, then I'll go through it, then we can discuss about it.
Okay, so we're gonna go through basically the discovery process and then the why.
Yeah, so now we're going to the why. Yeah, so basically you're trying to figure out. So basically, you're trying to. Okay, I can be the owner, so you can be the agent. So basically, you're trying to figure out why I'm selling the home. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Ray, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me today. I appreciate the tour of your lovely house. I know we talked about a lot of things. Looked through the whole house. It's all in great shape. I think everything checks out. So I guess my next question to you, sir, would be what is your reason for wanting to sell this home?
Not much reasons. I mean, I just want to sell it because the price is good.
So yeah, I mean it's a really hot market right now, as we're all aware. But I guess the price is good. Obviously, you built a lot of equity into it, as we discussed. So, what would be the next step after the sold?
The next step, yeah, I'm actually thinking of moving.
Okay, where do you want to move to?
Florida.
Florida. What part of Florida?
Orlando.
Orlando. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Orlando. I was in Miami a couple weeks ago. Really nice place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Orlando, do you want to, I guess, get a house out there? Do you want to retire out there? What is more?
Yeah, because to California, because the tax is really high, so that's why I want to move to Orlando.
Gotcha. You just want to sell this house, get a house out there, and hang out on the beach and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we want to get to Florida. Do you have family in Florida? Do you have friends in Florida? Or is that you just want to get out there? You just want to go see it? Or you want to, I guess, take a new step, a new journey out to Florida?
Yeah, it's just a financial decision, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so, for us to get to Florida, we got to sell this home first, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to, but yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. So, even if we don't sell this home, would you still just move to Florida?
Yes.
Okay. So, I guess, Florida's the goal. Florida's the motivation. If you don't need to sell this home, then what would be the reason for selling it besides the fact that the market's really good?
I want to sell it so I can take the money to go buy more income property.
Okay, got you. So you want to buy a house in Florida and as well as invest in some rental properties, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now back to my other question. So we don't need the money right now to move to Florida. would we need the money to buy more income properties, or could you buy a house in Florida and buy more rental properties without selling this one?
Actually, I would like to sell now because the market's. I want to sell it now while the market is still strong.
Gotcha. So now let me ask you this, because if you don't need the money to move to Florida, you could technically turn this house into a rental property and move to Florida. Would that be correct or incorrect?
No, because the California the regulations are very messed up. So I don't want to deal with that complication. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of taxes, laws. I know it's very tenant friendly out there. I've heard horror stories myself of friends having to literally pay their tenant that's not paying them rent and then still pay them and help them find a new place. So yeah, I agree. I definitely don't do any of my investments in California. Okay, so we want to cash out and we want to move to Florida and then we want to go buy more rental properties, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. And I guess would those be your two biggest reasons for selling?
Which two reasons?
To be able to move to Florida and buy a house in Florida, then also being able to take the money from this house and buy more rental properties.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, if I could wave my magic realtor wand, which all of us realtors have magic wands, I'm not sure if you're aware, but we all do. We keep them in our pockets. We can't ever take them out in front of public. It's kind of a magical realtor thing. I'm joking. But if I could wave this magical realtor wand and get you, the exact amount of money you need to move to Florida and buy as many rental properties as you could, realistically, what would that number be?
You mean the price for my home?
Yeah.
Probably $1 million. $1
million? Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with $1 million? Just from my understanding.
I was just looking at the market to see what the other homes were going for.
Okay. Yeah, because I looked at the market as well, and I think $1 million could be in the range. It could be possible, it could be feasible, but to be realistic with you, Ray, based on our data, based on all the properties that we've looked at that have sold in this exact neighborhood, I'm seeing a comfortable range based on price per square foot, based on finishes, based on, all the details going into these products. When I say products, I mean homes that are selling. I'm seeing a range of around, based on, everything that's comparable to your home, about $750 to $850. How does that number seem to you?
Okay, let's stop right here. Okay. You did perfect. Then you messed up.
I said the price. Yeah, I forgot where I was supposed to go next. My bad.
No, you did perfect. I mean, you obviously in a real scenario, it's not going to be as easy as this, but you asked all the right questions to figure out why. You did it perfectly. Actually, you said something that I forgot to mention. I usually do it too. If the owner do not give you the answer, you ask them, what do you want to do after you finish this process? So basically, you ask them, where they want to get to. So that helps you to understand their why.
You paint the full picture, and then you gave me your reasons. I was like, okay, reason one, let's dig a little deeper. Reason two, okay. So since you didn't really give me a reason, now you gave them to me. Now I'm going to throw them back at you. Yeah. So these are right. These are your reasons, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So this, So this is actually very good. So you understand how to do the why. Yeah, I think you do. Yeah. You understand what I was talking about the whole time. Yeah. So this is good. But afterward you messed up and you will not get the listing.
So I said the price range.
No, it's not that. Okay. This is a problem most agents have. It's like you're messing yourself up with your ego. When you're trying to get a listing, do not try to be right. Okay? Do not disagree.
Was it saying the magical realtor wand? Was that it?
No, not that. It's the other part. It feels like you're trying to convince the homeowner they're wrong about the pricing. You do not want to do that. Mm-hmm. Do you see how I was saying it when I was talking about the scale? I said I did not disagree with. I said, so remember when you said that, you haven't asked me what price I want yet, right? No, you did. You did. But what you did afterward is you were disputing my price. You do not do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. So I guess in that scenario,
Why do you want to Why do you want to dispute the price the homeowner said? You do not want to do it.
So in that scenario, what would if someone says $1 million, what would you say after that?
Once they say the $1 million, even in your mind, you know it's overpriced. You do not say it. You do not point it out.
Okay.
All you got to do is just show them the price scale so that everybody is on the same page and the same understanding that this price that you want, it's kind of out there. But you are not saying it. You're just showing it, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean, right? Because the way... Go ahead.
Well, I see what you're saying, and obviously we'd be face to face in this real scenario. But from what I was saying, so you said the price. I kind of talked about the range, but I guess the way I talked about it was kind of a dispute.
Yeah, you don't want to do that because although this is a fake scenario,
yeah,
I'm telling you the truth. I still don't like it.
Okay.
If I don't like it as a fake seller, the real seller will definitely not like it. Remember, your goal is to close. Your goal is not to be right. That's what the problem a lot of agent has. A lot of agents, they have not just agent. A lot of people have an ego trip. Many people, they want to be right. You know what I mean? They have this ego trip. A lot of people have it, especially for guys. Especially for people that are more dominant or whatever personality they have. They want to be right. They want to be, the person that's right. You do not want that. You need to make a decision. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich?
Oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm right. You get money.
Yeah, right. Your goal is to close them. Your goal is not to argue with them about the price. Although you did not argue, but you were disputing. Even as a fake seller, I wasn't happy. I got offended. You do not want to do that.
So in that scenario, how would you massage them down to the right price?
You do not. You just take it and then lower it later on. But you do not act like you did not see it. You make it a mutual understanding that we all know is a little bit overpriced. But we'll try it first and we'll adjust accordingly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Your goal is not to lower the price and sign the contract. Your goal is not that in order for me to sign a contract, the price has to be right. No, that's not your goal. Your goal is not to sign the contract at the right price. Your goal is to sign the contract. Do you see the difference?
Yeah. Now let me also ask you this high level. So, what if in that scenario? Let's go back to that scenario. What if in that scenario they tell you $1 million?
What were you saying?
So what if in that scenario or any scenario, they tell you the price they want, you agree with them, but then they ask you as the agent, what do you think? What do you think it's worth?
I just go through that price scale. Remember the price scale we went through?
Okay. So you wait for them to ask for your opinion, basically to give them the real price range?
So it's different situation go differently. Like sometimes if I ask them, they give me the price range, then I still go through the price scale. So I make sure they understand, So when I go through the price range with them, I'm not disputing with them. I'm a counselor. I'm not a person that's arguing with them. I'm just sharing with them what's going on in the market, right? I'm not trying to tell them, hey, your price is wrong. I'm not doing that. I'm just basically showing that if you list at this price, this is what most likely will happen. If you list at another price, that's what's most likely to happen, right? That's what I did, right?
Yeah.
But what you did is, as soon as I said I want to sell for $1 million, then you say, oh, but according to the market, your home is only worth between $700,000 to $800,000.
Okay.
You do not want to do that. That's a deal killer. Remember, your goal is always to close the signed listing. That's your only goal. Okay, let's say even in worst case scenario, even if you sign the listing and the homeowner do not want to lower the price and you do not end up selling this home, you still should do it. Because just because you have a listing out there, that's free marketing for you. People see your sign, they're going to call. People see online, they're going to call. But that do not even happen often, because most of the time, if they really want to sell, they will see the reality.
Yeah.
So I was talking to another agent. I didn't coach her, but she was just a friend. She lost a whole bunch of listing because she was insisting on like 5% or whatever percent commission, and she was arguing with the homeowner on this 0.5% commission. That's stupid, right? I said, you know how stupid you are, right? She said, yes. Just get the freaking listing.
Yeah.
Just get the damn listing, and then work. You know what I mean? So when you go to listing, you wanna know exactly what your goal is. Your goal is not to get the listing at the right price. Your goal is not to get the listing at the highest commission. Your goal is to get the listing. But obviously, after that, the second goal is get the listing at the highest price and the lowest. The highest commission and the lowest price. That's your second goal. Your primary goal is to get the listing, right? If you cannot get the listing at the lowest price, highest commission, then just get the listing at whatever price, whatever commission. If you can get the listing at the highest commission, lowest price, then that's perfect. If you can just get the listing at whatever price, whatever commission, then that's also perfect too, because at least you have the commission. You do not want to be right. You want to be rich. You do not want to be right. You do not want to tell them, hey, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Damien.
I'm going to steal that one. I'm going to steal that one, Ray. You do not want to be right. You want to be rich.
That's the problem with a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there. They're freaking poor as hell, but they have a lot of opinion. But they always think they're right. Because why they are right? Why are they poor? Because they always want to be right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whether you're right or not, you know it in yourself, in your mind. You don't need to prove to anybody. You don't need to argue with anybody, right? For example, the price of this home, $1 million. You know it's not $1 million. Doesn't matter. As long as you know it, that's okay. You do not need to argue with the homeowner. Why do you need to argue? You do not need to. You just need them to sign a contract, right? Okay, what do you think, Damon? When you about this whole discussion about I was saying $1 million and he was saying that I think this price is between 700 to 800.
Yeah, so naturally you want to do that. So I mean, honestly, I have that issue too. Naturally, I want to give them a price because that's what they're asking you for.
You do not.
They're asking, yeah, but I understand 100% where you're coming from now. I see the mistakes I've made in trying to nail down a price. Now, I want to say something else on the 1% thing you said. I have turned down listings because of 1%.
That's stupid, right? Now you think it's
stupid. I see now why I was stupid. Yep.
Now you think it's stupid, right? Just imagine how much more money you can make. And even that number is not even the real number, because with every listing, you're supposed to get at least 2, 3 or more listings with every listing you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just think about it.
Also,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think a deeper thing with commissions too, Damon, it's like that can also come into the ego a little bit.
Exactly.
When you think, like it's a tough little small, but when you really think deeper, like it kind of is. It comes down to an ego, because there are other listing companies out there that do it for 1-2%. So that's kind of our competition as well coming up here on the horizon. But I was just gonna throw it out there.
Well, I did research, and the companies that do 1-2%, it's based on them finding you another home. The big companies, it's based on them getting commission. But as how I thought of it was the opportunity cost. I always thought of it, okay, I got one listing, and I'm busting my butt. I'm trying to get this guy to open the door and do it. It's not worth 1%. But what Ray is saying, you're scaling. You're not worrying about that because your focus is to scale. Your focus is to get as many listings as possible.
Yeah.
Listings agreements as possible.
You don't need a lot of energy to sell a listing. Just face it. That's the energy you need to sell a listing is much less than buying helping somebody buy a home, right? That's the reason you can scale with listing. You can get 100 listing at the same time. You cannot sell 100. You cannot help 100 buyers to buy the home at the same time. So 1% or 2% doesn't make a difference.
No, that blew my mind. So
just think about it, man.
We're good.
Just think about it. If all you're thinking about is the commission, this is my bottom line. You know, my bottom line is to get the listing at no less than 4% or 5%. Then your goal is to get the listing no less than 4%. That's your goal. Your goal is not to get the listings. That's a big difference. You know what I mean? Your goal should be get the listing, not get the listing with no less than 4%. That's not your goal. Because once you get to a certain number of listings, listing will just kept coming because more listings get more listings.
People look you up. Their friends talk about you.
Yeah. Then you have all the signs. You have signs everywhere, and you post all the listings you have on Facebook, and then people will have this impression, which is true about you, that you're the big shot, right? Then people will have this, then it's become reality for you. Let's say on the other hand, if all you worry about is I gotta get a listing at no less than 4%, then it will never become a reality for you, because your reality will be this agent is a low performance agent. You don't have any listing. You're not a big shot. But if you get a lot of listings, that's your only goal, not getting a listing at 4%. Then your reality would be this is the agent with a lot of listings. He's a big shot. That's totally different.
Yep.
Nah, you make perfect sense, Ray.
See, it's good for you to say that, and I feel good, but that's not what I'm going after, because that doesn't make me money. So you gotta remember that too. You do not go get on an ego trip. You remember, you want to be rich. You do not want to be right. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna post that quote today on Facebook and tag you in it.
Yeah.
So no matter what, do not disagree with the homeowner. Do not try to be right. If at any time you try to do any of these two, you will not get the listing.
But you know what, Ray? I will say this. That's how we were able to close the listing with Abby, because I let her be right.
Yes. You always want.
If you think about it, Ian, that's right.
Yeah, you want them.
Oh, dude, we bet it over for Abby and Jesse from day one till the close. Some days they went in with Lou. Some days they went in with like cactus, and we were just like, all right, whatever.
Just think about it, right? As long as they let you to be rich, you can let them to be right, right? Why do you want to be both rich and right? That's just stupid.
You like my analogy of how we work with them, David?
Yeah. Oh man.
But
okay.
I'm gonna conclude pretty soon. But so next course we're gonna talk about the monopoly and the guarantee. But there is a fine line between kiss ass and being whatever. There's a fine line. We'll talk about in another session. It's called the Mla Communication System. So basically, the ultimate feeling, the vibe you want the people get after you talk with them, is that they have to feel comfortable about you. It's very important. Like what we just went through about the reach or right, and you're trying to say I'm not right on my price. When you say that, I won't feel comfortable. If I don't feel comfortable, you do not have my business. But it's a fine line. The fine line we'll talk about later on. It's about how do you kiss ass? How do you kiss ass the right way? And how do you kiss ass and at the same time you do not make yourself look like a person that's always kiss ass. You also want to show that you are the professional. You have the status, because people buy for status, right? If people only feel like you're the person that kiss ass, they're not gonna buy from you. But at the same time, they think if they buy from you, they have status. Their status increase, then you will have their business. Is that it for today, or do you have any? Do you guys have any other question now?
We're good. I can run off of what you said the whole day.
Okay.
We're good.
And then so I'll go ahead. I'll get the Redx account set up, and then I'll send over. Wait, I don't think I even have your email. Can you text me your email? Because I know we've been doing everything through the text chain we created.
Yeah, I'll text it to you. Yeah.
So yeah, text me your email, and then I'll get Redx set up. I'll send over the credentials, and then we'll start getting these real folks going.
Okay.
Some signs on the ground.
Okay. Okay, so that's it?
Yep, that's it, Ray.
All
Thank
right,
you, man.
Okay, all right, thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.